This is all you need to know if you want to get into real estate this year. I'm going to be talking about a few topics here. The current state of the real estate. What are the trends going forward? What makes sense to do right now? Do I sell? Do I buy? And I'm going to touch on the Calgary rezoning conversation because everybody likes that, don't they? So here we go. Don't we love the media? This campaign last year was ran in Toronto and Vancouver, and it brought a lot of people into Calgary. Record high migration last year, 2022, 2023, and 2024 this year will continue on this trend. It is important to state that we still have the foreign home buyer ban, which means people who are not on work visa, who are not permanent residents, or who don't have Canadian citizenship cannot buy properties still. They were supposed to finish with this earlier this year. What happened was that they extended the law until 2027. All these people who came with money cannot buy anything, so they're looking for rentals. Therefore, the rental market went crazy. Where are the people coming from? No surprise here. As you can see, we've got the biggest trends from BC, from Ontario. Again, the housing crisis pushed people out of those provinces and they're pushing them into Alberta. Welcome, if you're one of them. We're happy to have you. The last line that you see here, this is the first quarter of 2024. And you can see the difference here, right? 2023 was the largest gain of new residents in Canada since the 70s. Calgary has a strong and stable real estate market. These homes are not going anywhere, and the prices are climbing up. This graph shows us the prices since last year to this year, and it shows us the first column here is April 2023, and the last one is April 2024. As you can see, we are heavily on the seller side, favoring sellers. What that means is that we have more buyers than people who are willing to sell their home. That means if you're in the selling position right now, your life is probably pretty nice. If you're buying, it can be very stressful. Very stressful. There's more buyers than properties to sell. And that creates bidding wars, and that creates multiple people being interested in that one house or an apartment or a townhouse, doesn't matter. We see bidding wars all over the spectrum. We see bidding wars on really cheap properties. We see bidding wars on the luxury market. Doesn't stop. Just too many people buying, not enough people selling. What you can also see from this graph is the spring and the summer are the strongest in the market, and then we have the fall and the winter that things sort of slow down. It only takes 19 days to sell your home in Calgary right now. Spring 2024, 19 days. This is on average, of course. Not everything sells within 19 days, but it is the average. This lovely trend shows us the last 10 years of real estate in Calgary. Are the prices going any down? No. They're going up, and they will keep going up. So let's talk about what makes sense to do now. Are you in the market to buy your first home? Is maybe your current place is for sale because the sellers are having so much fun right now? Then they're making you move out from your rental. Does it make sense to rent again, or does it make sense to look into properties? I would say it absolutely 100%, depending on your situation, makes sense to look into the possibility of purchasing, just because this is really the only legal way how to get rich in Canada. And the first step is always get pre-approved. Make sure you have that pre-approval from your bank, from your mortgage broker, from your financial advisor. Connect with somebody, show them your income, show them your taxes, show them all of that employment info, and get a pre-approval and buy something, because that something is going to be worth it could be worth like last year. Let me just go back to that slide. This is a difference within 1 year. Of course, it's not promised that this is going to happen to your property. I don't have the crystal ball. I cannot predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen. But you see the trends for the last 10 years. Nothing is getting cheaper. And especially things are not getting cheaper in cities that are investing into their infrastructure. They're investing into people, and people are attracted to come. So, does it make sense to buy your first home now? Yes, it does. Let's talk about that. Let's get you pre-approved. Let's see what's out there for you. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just really should be something, because if you commit yourself for another year for renting, you will just be paying off somebody else's mortgage. You will not be storing any of your credit score, although the government was suggesting that they will be counting the rentals into your credit, which would be amazing, I think. If you want to upsize, there's a decent selection in the homes that are worth $1 million or more. If you want to downsize right now, and you have quite a lot of equity in your current home, it also makes sense. However, that market, anything under $500,000, maybe now even $600,000, will be rough to find. If you're downsizing from a house to an apartment or a condo, good choice, great choice. There's a lot of beautiful places under $500,000. If you're relocating to Alberta, you're probably relocating because of the affordability. So please get in touch. Let's sort this out. If you're planning to stay here for the next few years, maybe let's look into buying something. If this is a temporary thing, maybe rental is a good solution. If you're looking for an investment property, I have so many people, so many clients reaching out to me saying what makes the most sense from a cash flow perspective. I want to buy a cheap condo downtown because there's so many of them listed. I want to rent it out and I want to be living in Costa Rica for the rest of my life. Well, that doesn't make sense anymore, unfortunately, unless you have cash. If you have a significant amount that you can put down, not to mention 20% usually doesn't cut it at these rates. It just does, it's not enough. When you have 20% down, when you add the condo fees on top of that, the taxes, the maintenance, the vacancy rate, even though the vacancy rate is really low right now, you still have to have at least a month, count with at least a month of not having a tenant. So if you do the math and count all that, the rent will barely cover all of this. However, if you do have cash, if you have significant amount of cash, we can find you an investment property. Things that cash flow the best are 2 units within one house. Ideally, there are no condo fees. You have the upstairs, you have the downstairs separated, legal suite, which you can create, or you can buy a house that already has a legal suite. Upstairs you can rent for an amount depending on a community where we go. Downstairs, same thing. If it's nice and fancy renovated, you can rent it for a lot of money. These are the investment properties that make sense right now. But again, you have to have the cash because there's gonna be disturbances. There's gonna be, maybe you will have to fix the roof. Maybe you will have to fix something else in the house. So make sure you do your due diligence, and I can help with that. Really quickly, 3 tips for buyers, 3 tips for sellers. Know what you want and be ready to compromise. In this market, you're not gonna get 10 out of 10, okay? In a normal market, you would get maybe 7, 8 out of 10. In this market, you're gonna get 4, maybe 5. So be ready for that. Make sure that your expectations are not over the roof. Make sure you have the budget. And make sure to be ready to go a little bit over the asking price. I'm gonna tell you when it doesn't make sense anymore. And I've done that with my clients when I said, well, this will sell for this much, but it's not a good deal anymore. Let's find something else. It's tough when you're looking for your home and when you have nowhere to go. Just compromise, settle for something, move in and start building that equity. The sooner you do that, the better you will be going forward. Sellers, please let us evaluate your properties based on the current market, not based on your renovations. We understand that you've put a lot of money and a lot of energy and a lot of love into your home, and you probably think it's worth $1 million. Well, it's not, unless it is. So please listen to your realtors, and realtors, let's be realistic with pricing. There are a few strategies. A lot of realtors are strategizing and underpricing listings right now just to create that bidding war, just to be able to say, oh, we've received 10 offers, we've received 20, 25, 30 offers on the property within the first 24 hours. Good for you. But let's not scare people. Second, sellers, please do understand that selling your home is the whole process. It does not include just coming in with a camera and then somebody's going to give us money for your house. The house needs to be in a top shape. It needs to have, everything needs to be clean, in a working condition. If we stage it, I highly recommend staging empty vacant properties. It just looks so much better. We have to depersonalize it. Please take off all the family photos. Take off anything that's personal and that may not be to the taste to somebody else. Have a plan and have a realistic expectations and know where you're going. In case you are in that 600 to 700 home price, have a plan where are you going, because the house can sell really fast. Lastly, the biggest conversation of the last week, the Calgary city and the blanket rezoning. So it looks like there is an intergenerational battle. The older people, the homeowners, the boomers, are saying that the blanket rezoning is the worst idea ever. They don't want their old communities to be transformed into the newer ones where you can see a lot of infills, a lot of multifamily units, a lot of townhouses. Why? Because they fear that their properties will lose value because of that. If you own a detached house and your neighbor is a row of townhouses with mostly rentals, this house right now in the current market does not have the same value as the one that faces the other way, facing the other detached houses. However, the other side, people who do support the blanket rezoning are argumenting with the need of housing, which we have a big influx of people in Calgary and we don't have enough housing. We don't even have enough rentals. Building new housing is happening. Calgary is really spreading out into the suburbs. However, they're saying that the building is not quick enough. So quick rezoning of everything means that homeowners can build basement suites, they can build above the garage suites, carriage suites in their backyards. There is still a long process of approval to do all these things. It doesn't mean that the city will pass this law and everybody can just start building. You still need development permits, you still need building permits and all sorts of other permits. The point here is that nothing has been decided. In April, they had a long city council meeting. Hundreds of people showed up, hundreds of people called in, expressed their opinions, and we don't know what's gonna happen still. Again, we have people who are extremely opposed to this idea, and then we have people supporting the idea. The city will do what the city will do. We have no control over that. What everybody can feel good about, that they gave us a chance to express ourselves. So anyways, that's my presentation. If you have any questions, get in touch. It's fun to look for a new home, you know? It's a new chapter of life. You're a homeowner. It's great.